This conference will now be recorded.
So this today we'll discuss about the PS and SD integration. So I will tell you like few of the things which is generally used as part of PS and SD. Okay, and I will show you some of the things into the system. We will not do deep dive in the PS SD scenario. Okay, if you are working in a situation right now for a customer project or something like this, so what you can do, you can just do the testing in detail. If anything required to discuss in depth, that we can do later, but today I will just give you an idea like what is all about the PSSD integration, like what all are the methods by which we can have a PSSD integration, and what all are the various functionalities we have around it. So we can say, let's talk about it. So where we are using the PS and SD integration. Okay, so first thing is where we are using. So PS SD integration is mainly using in your customer scenario. Okay, so wherever we have the customer project, then only we will use the integration with SD. So SD here is a sales and distribution module. Okay, so we are saying customer project uses integration with SD. So it's very simple. So what we have understood initially, that in general or also in SAP system, we have a two type of project, right? So we have a Capex project and we have one customer project. So what is the difference between Capex and the customer project is that customer project is sponsored by a customer, means we are doing something for customer. Okay, where it can be we are providing some services, or if we are dealing in some construction companies or some engineering companies, we are constructing some structure for the customer. Structure can be a building, it can be a plant. Okay, like that. So the main difference is here, like in any customer project, if you look at the execution part. Okay, so if we talk about the project execution, so project execution will remain same whether it is your OPEX or whether it is your CapEx, whether it is your customer project. But the difference is here that in Capex project, it's like our all the financial sponsored by our own company. So it means all the cost will goes to the like if it is a OPEX also will be a part of that. So OPEX will be like all the cost will go to the cost center. If it is a pure Capex, then all the cost will be capitalized. But in case of customer, what we are doing, we are saying, okay, we receive one project. Now as an engineering company, we have to execute that project for a customer, and in order to executing that project, we are receiving some money, and that money will consider as a revenue. Okay, so that also we have seen initially. So in our customer project, we have revenue as well. If we have revenue, it means we have some profitability also, because we spend some amount, and based on that we will have some other revenues based on margin. So that will be, and the like net profit and loss will be considered as our okay uh, profit and other thing. Now if we look at the perspective, like there are multiple ways to executing a customer project in SAP system. Okay, so what all are the different combinations we have? Okay, so generally you have to just, we know that customer project have the key difference. What is the key difference of the customer project? See, we plan the cost in same way, we have the budget in the same way, we have the execution in the same way. The only difference is like it has revenue. Okay, customer project have revenue, also a customer involvement, customer master or customer involvement. That is some key field differences. Now if we look at the like any point, like whether it is a customer revenue or like revenue or the customer master, so we can have this thing using a two different ways. So what we can do, like how we can have a revenue on our project. Okay, so the question should be how revenue will be posted. So to project, it's like what you can do, like we can have a different approaches. For example, one approach is like you are working for some government project, okay, in your organization, and your organization is working for a government and they have some government tenders. But the thing is, they do not wanted to follow all these process like sales order processing, all these thing into the SAP system. Okay, they have some their own legal contract, and based on that contract, they are executing that project, and also on that basis of that project, they are having the money, okay, the revenue. So what they can do, they can, okay, so our revenue will be posted. There are two ways, and that two ways you can say as an integration also. So first we are saying using direct customer invoice posting. Okay, so in SAP you can also post a direct customer invoice, so you don't need to have any no a customer document, for example sales order or any other document. So what you can do, you can just directly post a customer invoice with reference to your project. So at that, what will happen whenever you will post any customer invoice, so at the same time it will post the revenue to that particular project. So you can say you will have the same structure, like you will create a project, you will create a WBS element, you will have the network activities, everything will be remain same whatever we have did so far. The only difference is during the execution, okay, during the execution you will have some revenues, and that revenue is coming from directly from the customer as a manual invoice. That is the first approach. Okay, so direct customer invoice posting. Second is using sales order integration. So what is a sales order integration? Sales order integration is like whenever we are, so for example, if we are going to purchase any material for our organization, what we will do, we have a purchase order processing. Purchase order processing is like we are creating a purchase requisition first, then it will go for the RFQs, and then it will go for the purchase order, and finally it is awarded to the vendor. Same thing happen in the sales order processing as well. So sales order has like their own processing cycle. For example, if we talk about a sales order cycle, it will be like a sales inquiry, and then quotation, and then the sales order. So what will happen when first we will have an inquiry. Based on the inquiry, we will generate our quotation, and if that quotation is finalized by our customer, they will give us the contract, and from our perspective, what we will say, we will have a sales order, a sales contract with our customer. So majorly we have three steps in sales order processing: sales inquiry, quotation, and order. Okay, if we go into the in depth, but the final point is the sales order. Until and unless we have a sales order, we are saying that the thing is not sold. Okay, like we don't have the project until unless we have the sales order. So second way is using the sales order integration. Okay, so we have seen that if we need to have the integration with sales with the purchase order from the point of view, what we did, we have created one purchase order manually, and then we have linked our WBS element. The same thing apply here as well. The only difference is because purchase order is like you are procuring something, like you are generating some liabilities. Okay, so it means it's considering as a cost to the project. But on the other hand, if we are integrating something with sales order, process will be the same, but the thing is you are saying, okay, it will be a revenue, like it will be a future potential revenue for that project whenever the things will confirm. Okay, so now we have understood, like, okay, in customer project we have the revenue, we have the customer involvement, and the main thing is we have the revenue. How revenue will be posted? There are two ways: direct customer invoice posting and the using sales order integration. When we are saying using sales order integration, it will be like SDPS integration. Direct customer invoice posting is not our SDPS integration, because customer invoice is directly posted from the finance module, not the SD module. Okay, if we are saying using sales order integration, again we have a two method. to having the sales order integration. One is known as manual sales order integration, and the second, which is like generally they will ask you into the, like if you talk about the customer project, generally interview will ask this question: automatic. Automatic, or it is mostly known as assembly processing. Okay, so it is assembly processing. So manual sales order integration is like you will create a sales order from the sales order transaction code, and then you will just assign the WBS element. That's it. So once you will assign the WBS element, what will happen? It will create a link between your project and the sales order, and from there you will have the revenue. Same thing happen with the, like integration will be the same, but the thing is, in automatic assembly processing we don't create the project. Okay, in manual, in the first step, in the first way, what we are doing, first we are creating a project separately, then we are creating a sales order separately, and then we are integrating both the object no, by assigning them. Like we are assigning the WBS element to the sales order, so we are integrating them manually. But in the second option, in the assembly processing, what we are doing, we are not creating any project. We have created some other standard project for the references, but we are not creating any operative project. We are creating only the sales order or the any sales as the object. For example, it can be your inquiry, it can be your quotation, or it can be your order. So it can be like assembly processing can be triggered from any of these three objects. So for, so let's say if you are creating a sales order, so what system will do? System will create automatically a project number. Okay, it will create automatically a project number. So you don't need to create a project will be created automatically based on the sales order. That is the reason it's known as the automatic or the assembly processing. And why we are using the assembly processing? So assembly processing generally uses in a scenario where they have no like a company which deals mostly in a same kind of project. Okay, for example, if we are saying a IT project, SAP implementation project. Okay, so if a company is doing like they have a different kind bucket wise, you can say. So because we are having differentiate on the material basis here, so you can say if we are having a one project and we are executing the same project again and again with not exact same, but with some other differentiators, like the cost can be a bit more or less, and the project WBS element, or you can say the work packages can be a bit more or less. Material required material quantity be a bit more or less like that. But the overall idea is that if we are if we are as a as a executioner company, if we are dealing in a project where we are having a same nature of project, let's say uh, a company which deals in a solar power plant implementation. Okay, so if you look at the solar power plant implementation, because the solar power plant implementation is more or less it is the same in nature. Okay, size can be varies, but it is same in nature. So based on that, so like because it's same in nature, so they have also like the same work packages, same all the activities, materials only can be up and down like a bit more or less based on the requirement. So in that case we can have the assembly processing. So we will talk about these two steps, like how we will going to do it into the system. So I will show you by having some other existing data into the system. Apart from that, if we are talking about the PSSD integration. So what we are saying, we are saying the customer project using, okay, so apart from what are the other other features of the PSSD integration with sales with SD object, like your sales inquiry, quotation, and sales order. That is the second thing. So we will have revenue from the revenue will be from sales order billing, So whenever we have the SDPS integration, we will not have the revenue directly from the customer invoice. Like we have two ways. Okay, we have seen here, like for in order to have the revenue, we have two ways. One is direct customer invoice posting. If it is a direct customer invoice posting, it is not a PSSD integration. It is a FIPS integration. We can have a SDPS integration only when it is linked with the sales order. And in order to receive the revenue, we will do the sales order billing. So whenever we are doing the billing, at that time system will post the revenue. Third thing we have around is like milestone billing. So there is also one functionality in PS. Okay, so while it is milestone billing. So milestone billing is like we could have some milestone in PS, and based on that, billing will be unblocked so that we will understand. And then we have the result analysis. So I have just list down something here, so it can be like a benefit for you in your future assignments. Result analysis. So result analysis is something a complex thing. Result analysis majorly used for the accounting perspective, like how you will show the project revenue based accounting. Okay. Just a moment. Okay, so what I will do, we will take a look into the into our system if we can find some data to do these things. So first we will just take a look of the manual approaches. Okay. So what we are saying, okay, let's have a project. Okay. First, let me look if it should not have a link with IM. What is the budget profile we are using? Is it refresh? This one. Okay, that's fine. So first we are taking a manual approach. Okay, so what we are saying, we are having a customer project, but we are not having any sales order. Okay. So if we are not having a sales order, it means we are doing everything manually. Okay. So by means of everything manually, we are saying, okay, we are creating one project. Same thing we are first doing manually. It can have again the naming convention as per our requirement. And we are saying, okay, the project will be like, let's say 250 megawatt solar power project. Okay. Profile, we will choose our one. So our profile will be the, what is our profile? What is the profile we have created? Is anyone? Okay, so I think this one. So this profile is actually created for the investment project, but the only difference is why it is investment project, because it has assigned some other cost flows information. So we are not going into that detail. So what I will do, I will just remove the investment profile from the project definition. So it will not have that Capex nature then. Okay. So now it will not generate the AUC automatically. So what I did, I have created project definition, and then we will have some few of the WBS elements. Okay, I will just create two WBS elements for the Okay, so we are saying execution. So we are saying, okay, so what can be the phase? We can have the execution phase, and then we are having one phase as a operation. So I have just created two WBS elements, just giving you the flavor how it works. Okay. Now, if you remember, okay, so what we do generally for the Capex project. Okay, so what we do in our Capex project, we will create our structure and we will say, okay, this element is for planning. So we will do the planning indicator for the cost planning. Okay, then we will save it. And as a next step, what we will do, we will do the cost planning. So for example, if we are doing the hierarchical cost planning, so what we will do, we will just come here and let's say we are just having the overall, we are just considering the overall. So we are saying, okay, so the cost planning will be like 100,000. Okay, and then in Capex project we directly do the budgeting, but here we will have one more thing, okay, that we did not discuss till the date, that is the revenue planning. Okay, same way like in we did revenue planning in appropriation request, but we did not did the revenue planning for our Capex project, because in Capex project it is not required, but in customer project it is required. Process is very simple. For revenue planning it will be the same whatever we did for the cost planning. Okay, so for revenue planning, that can be a interview question. So if we talk about the revenue planning, but this will not a difficult part. Revenue planning in PS. So remember there are two type of revenue planning. One is hierarchical revenue planning. Okay, it will be like same as your hierarchical cost planning. So hierarchical cost planning we do in CJ 40, and hierarchical revenue planning we will do in CJ 42. Process will be the same, nothing is different. Configuration also will be the same. Means whatever the profile you created for the planning profile, the same profile is used for your revenue planning as well. Second is your cost element base. Okay, cost element based revenue planning. Its name is cost element based, but the process and everything will be same as whatever we did for the CJR2. Okay, so if you remember, we have one cost planning, which is our cost element based cost planning, or the detailed cost planning, where we have did the cost planning in CJR2 transaction. So this is the same thing we do for the revenue planning as well. The only difference is the cost element. Okay, so whenever we are doing the cost planning, we will have the cost, means we have the cost based cost element, but whenever we are doing the revenue planning in CJR2, we will have the revenue ones, like the cost element whichever is applicable for the revenue, we will take that cost element. That is the only difference. Okay, so here we will do the hierarchical revenue planning in CJ 42. So see, right now we are in CJ 40 screen, so this is the screen, same thing we have the CJ 42. The only difference is that will be considered as a revenue planning. But now you can see one error here. If you look at this error, it is saying in cost planning or financial budget, you can save defective data. What is saying extras? Okay, generated the log extra error log. So it is saying that WBS element is not a billing element. If you remember when we talk about the WBS indicator, okay, initially, I have explained that we have three operative indicator on WBS element: planning element, account assignment element, and billing element. Here come the billing element. So why we use the billing element? If you need to plan or you need to have actual revenue on your WBS element, then this indicator should be selected. Otherwise, system will not allow you to post any actual revenue or any plan revenue. That is the use of this element. Now we will save it, and we will do that CJ42 thing again. Now it will allow. The screen will be same because the configuration will is same. Everything is same. But now we are saying, okay, so what we have did, we have say, okay, this WBS element had 100,000 euros as a expenses. But because this is a revenue, so we need to plan revenue accordingly. So we are saying, okay, we are having a 15% margin. So it means it will be like 115,000 revenue. And here this will be a 23,000 as a revenue. And then we will save it. If you will check it again, value is rolled up. So that's what we did in our customer project. We have the revenue plan as well. So we did the revenue planning. Now for the budget or the cost governance, if we need to have the budgeting, that we can do using the transaction CJ30. Here it applies the same thing. So whatever we did for the Capex project, nothing different here. So I have assigned the same budget as my plan cost. So now we are saying, okay, I am all set because I did my cost plan, I did my revenue plan, I have my budget on my project. Now I can release my project. Okay, but before that I need to change the user status. Oh, and plan approve, and then release. Okay, so in our Capex project, what we did, we created our purchase order after the release. Okay, here also we will do the same thing. If you look, if you understand the cycle of customer project, it will be like this only. Like we will create our project, we do the planning, like your cost planning, revenue planning, and we will do the budgeting. And because this is a customer project, customer will pay you only after the some work or some delivery. So what you will do, because you also need material from other vendor, so you will raise a PO first. You will have some actual cost. Okay, that is the process. You will have some actual cost, you did some work, then only you will have the revenues. That is the whole cycle. Okay, so once you will have the cost, then you should have some revenue also. But because we are executing this cycle as an entirely manual, we are saying we did not have any sales orders. So I will just give you an idea how a manual revenue post will work. Okay, so what generally we'll do, let's say, because this is the WBS element. So as a manual revenue posting, we will post the customer invoice. I think, okay, so this is the customer invoice. Okay, so what we will do here, we will just post, like we will select the customer number, okay, and the amount, and then we will fill the entries like as our we did the for the our journal. Okay, same thing we will do it here. Now let's say customer will be what we can say. Let's choose some data if I can find something. 1000. Oh, sorry. Customer by company code. Mhm. Company code. Okay. 01112022. Amount, let's say 20,000. 123. Zero tax. Now we have to have our GL account here. So that will be debit. It should be credit. That's fine. Okay, so we are seeing sales revenue. Let's see if it will work. Yes, it will work. So here you can see this is throwing an error message that it requires an CO object. So what is the CO object? CO object is our WBS element. So I have provided my WBS element, and this is against the customer. Where is that customer number? This one. Okay. So we will check it if is there any. Okay, it says this text code not exist. Again, the text code issue. Let's try this one. Is 0. Text code. Ah, okay. 1010.
Can't we take zero tax, no tax?
Actually, this is text configuration. Sometimes it has some country dependency as well. You country taxable, tax exemption. Let's try this one. But here it should be either here. It's nothing. Let's see if we can blank it. Okay, let's try. Yeah, I think blank it will work. So I will post it. So I have just directly posted the revenue, okay, just to showing you like how it works. But generally cycle does not work like this. And if we don't have the advanced case, in case of advanced, we will do like this. So first we will post the advanced to the system. But generally what we will do, we have the execution, we will have some actual cost on our project, we have some project progress, and based on that we will do the billing to the customer. Then customer will pay some amount. Once they will pay some amount, that if it is a manual thing, like we are not having any sales order kind of thing in our system, because some companies does not have the SD module also, like those companies which don't use SD in that detail, because they are dealing with a fixed number of customers or the big government projects, so they don't need the sales and SD module. So they follow this practice. Okay, so like they just post directly all those invoices into the system. So because I have posted a 20,000 using the customer invoice, if I will look at my reporting CN41N, it will come under the revenue. So if I will change the layout, so we have the actual cost, we have actual revenues. So here you can see we have the revenues. So revenue will be shows you in a negative sign. Okay, so that's how a manual integration works. If we go one step over this, okay, if we go just one step over it, let's say like if we are saying, okay, we have a sales order integration, okay, but in sales order integration again we have two method, okay, we are saying manual sales order integration and the automatic. So first we will talk about the manual sales order integration. So manual sales order integration is like same thing. Like first you will create a project. So let's say I will just create a copy project. I will copy it from this. Okay, so the initial step is same. Okay, so we create our project, we will do the cost planning, we will do the revenue planning as well. The only thing is actual revenue will come in a different source. So we did all these things, and then like I will save it, and then what we will do, we will have the sales order. Okay, so sales order again have their own processing cycle, so I will not go in that detail like sales inquiry, quotation and order. But in order to have an actual project, you should have a sales order. So we will create a directly a sales order. So how to create a sales order? The transaction code will be VA01. Then it will ask you the order type. Let's see if it will allow me to create. I think SA will be the standard one. What is the standard? Return. So they have a different order type based on a different requirement or other SD cycles. So I will just try to have a standard one. What is the standard one? It is AA. No, I think they have deleted it. Uh, CIFD, ST, no, this one. Why is it on standard order OR? Okay, so this is the order screen look like. Okay, it's more or less like same as your purchase order. The only difference is in purchase order we are purchasing something with vendor, so we will have mostly the information vendor related. Here we are selling something, so if we are selling something, then it means we should have some customer specific information like to whom we are selling, a sold to party, ship to party, all these things. Okay, and then all other information like what is the material we are selling. Okay, all this information comes here. So we need to just fill some information. Let's see if it will work. I'm not sure whether this configuration in place. Material we will choose for the, where is the plant, material description, class, material group, sales material. Let's choose the sales material. Okay, so whenever we are having a sales order, okay, sales order again is like your purchase order. So in purchase order we have the material. Okay, same thing apply for your sales order as well. Like in sales order we have the material. I think I can use uh, description. Let's see, solar power project, or do we need a material? No. What order quantity? Not required. Yes, I think this will work. Sales from not defined. Okay, so I will just remove the plant. Okay, so the idea behind is like we create a sales order, and in sales order we have the item. Okay, so it required a lot of no sales SD configuration in place, like the material and the customer information and their ship to parties. There are a lot of configuration. If you try, you will face so many issues. Okay, in the system, because it will require a lot of SD configuration. So I will try to in a simpler way. Let's see if it will allow me to save. But before that, what we need to do, we need to fill all the other information. So what I will do, I will click on the item and let's try to put some other information. For example, the condition is main here. Okay, but it is not allowing filling element, shipping. We should have some price, because the whole idea is about the price in sales order. Okay, so if we are saying it's a sales order, but like what is the value of the sales order? So that should come here actually in pricing. But it's not appearing. Okay, let's try first save it. If it will allow me to save. Okay, so it saved. Now we will go to the change mode. Okay, it's still not saved. Now saved. So we are seeing item overview, item details. Here we can put the price. I cannot the price. Add value 0. I think I need to consider some other items then. Okay, if I will say like this, but it will remove it. Okay, let's try like this. If we have a material, contractor, item category, no idea what should we fill here. Okay, just a moment, I will find some other data. Just a moment, just let me find the data. I have saved it somewhere offline, I think. What is that? What is that? Okay, let me just find something. What is the table of BBAK created by? Yes, this is something I can utilize. And what is the plant and the thing? Yes, this is, I will utilize this one. Okay, so we will utilize this one. This is something I have created earlier to test something else. Okay, so we will create another sales order. Okay, and this time we will just use the same thing whatever this document have. So we will go to the header first. Let's see what are the information. So the order type is ZECO, and show to party we will pick the same thing, and then item will be the project. Okay, and we'll press enter, and then let's see the other information. Header sales 3020 140 3020 40. Okay, order quantity is 1. And now we look at the condition. Okay, so here we have the condition. Okay, and but before that we assign value somewhere. Okay, so this is the item We have a net value here, fine. We have the condition is PR00. So net value is coming here as a, so we will add PR00. Okay, PR00 is our net price. So we are saying what will be our total for line item number 1 we are saying, so it will be 115,000, let's say, but this is in euro. Also this is in euro USD, so we will say, let's say 150,000. So now the price of this sales order item will be 150,000, and if we look at it now here, where is that? Now net value will be 150,000. Okay, so that is the price of this sales order. Now there is one more thing here, is the billing plan. Close it. Okay. So billing plan is like whenever we are having a sales contract. Okay, so sales contract, if it is not a time and material basis, if it is like a milestone, generally like 90% in cases we have a project like this only, like the milestone basis, like we are saying, okay, when we will raise the customer billing, like when the project will 25% will completed, okay, 50% completed, like that. Okay, so we can have that billing plan here. So we will maintain that date. Okay, what should be the date? Okay, what will be there? No, this, what we can say, the date description, like why we are having this date, whether it is a stage or initial payment or the closing payment, and if is there any milestone relationship that we can establish. So these all are the information. So we have two options: either we can have a billing plan from the sales order itself, or we can create what we can say, we create milestone in our project, and then we can take a reference that we can utilize here. So I will show you that milestone billing as well, but before that I'm not just doing this thing, we will do it later. So we are saying, okay, total value will be 150,000. Okay, and then we will save it, but before saving we need to make a link. Okay, so this time what we did, we have created the sales order, but the link is manual, it's not automatic. So if it is a manual, what we need to do, we have this account assignment tab. If you look at the account assignment tab, we have this WBS element field here. Okay, so we have to put our WBS element number here. So we are saying A123 29 and then 01. So it's saying it's not belong to controlling it at 2000. Okay, so in that case we have to, I will just save it first, and then we will create another project. Okay, and this time we will create 2030. We will change the controlling area to 2000. Okay, so company code will be, we are saying, okay, 2000. Company code not assigned. What is a company code which is assigned to 2000? And now I need to find the company code also. This company, is it assigned in this table? No. Company code. Okay. Okay, enterprise structure, assignment. Okay. Controlling a 2000. Okay, so it has a 3000 company code. Fine. Okay, so we have assigned the 3000 company code. Now we will just create our WBS element. This time it will not throw the error message. Okay, and also I will release it. Awesome. Okay, now we will try with updated WBS element. So this is the one I think which we have created. We'll go in the item and then account assignment. Okay, so if you recall the purchase order session, okay, so in purchase order we have the same thing. Okay, we have the item. Okay, in item detail we have the account assignment tab. Same thing we have in the sales order as well, and we will just link it. We did the same thing in purchase order. Oh, so now you can see saying, okay, this WBS element is not a billing element. Now we need to change that again. So make it a billing element, and then save it. We'll try it again. Okay, I need to save it and reopen it again. And then item, account assignment. Am I doing something wrong? 830. It's the billing element, right? 00030. Not a billing element. Why? Okay, let's come out and do it again. Okay, now this time it's not showing that message. So we will just save it. Okay, so now I have just saved it. And now we are saying, okay, we have established a relationship between a PS and the SD. Okay, so now whatever the billing is done using this sales order processing, that will be directly posted as a revenue to this particular project. Also, if you will look at the CN41 and report, okay, so we have seen in our PM integration scenario as well, like if we have any PM integration, we can see the PM object in this report. Same thing is applied for the sales order object as well. But there is a catch here. If like I'm having this project, if I will execute it, you cannot see any sales order or the other sales order object here until unless I will go back, and in the database profile I need to mark this sales document as a selected. Okay, then I will continue, then only I am having the option of sales order, sales document. So now you can see with execution WBS, system is showing me a link. Okay, so this link is nothing, it is my sales order. So if I will click on it, okay, you can see it will directly navigate us to the sales order. Now we will try to do some billing posting as well if I'm able to do it. Let's try. If it's not marked for the release, Okay, so for billing, I'm not sure because for billing there is another things is required. So billing type, document, no billing documents were generated. Okay. Credit memo. So actually there is one process. I'm not so sure about that process. Okay, that is a SD and FI process. So what happened in that process? We generate the billing with reference to the order. So whenever we generate the billing, system will generate the accounting document and the revenue will be posted. That is a one way. And I think we need to do, yes. So how we will do that? Let's just check it again. First we need to do the VL02 I think, and but VL02 create with order, but again it will ask so many things. 3200 I think, 3000. Okay, let's check it. Let's try VL02 and go to header says 3020. Okay, 3020 VL02 and outbound delivery 3020. Do we have anything like that here? No. Shipping client. Okay. TVCPL. So this is the issue when you run a integrated scenario in a no, test system or in any other system. You will have so many data dependencies. So we need I'm not so sure what we need to do here. Shipping point. Let's VL02. So the body ship to body is shipping. Do we have any shipping information here? No. Okay, so there is an end-to-end processing. I need to check like how it works because there are so many configuration missing. So just take an idea, like the idea is behind is like the integration will be done on the sales order. Okay, so after the sales order we have again the further sales order steps, like we need to create the outbound delivery. Like it's like the same thing we do the GR in case of purchase order. So for outbound delivery is like we are saying, okay, if we are having a quantitative material, so we are saying, okay, this much of work is completed, so it means we are confirming this much of thing, and based on that system will generate the billing. So that's the idea of outbound delivery and all. But I will show you that billing thing in the automated part or the milestone billing, we can say. Okay, so that's the thing about this manual processing. And like if we need to, and now let's just take something about the automatic processing. So what is the automatic processing? So automatic processing, you can say It is the same thing whatever we have did, like we have created the purchase sales order and we have created the project. But what we did so far, we have created separately. Like we created a sales order and we created a project and then we integrated them to each other. But in assembly processing, it does not happen like this. So in assembly processing, what will happen? Process is like your sales document. Okay, sales document, like it can be your sales inquiry, quotation, or order. From sales document, your project will create it automatically. And then you have the further processing. Further processing is like you can do your detail structure planning and the further execution, like if any PO or any actual cost required, like that. So what is the prerequisite of assembly processing? So apart from the, okay, so assembly processing require SD configuration and PS configuration both. Okay, so I will talk about from the PS point of view. There are some SD configuration as well, like they need to do configure the item category and the sales order configuration. There are few of the configuration from the SD point of view. But from the PS point of view, we have main thing is like you need to have a standard WBS. That is the first thing. Okay, standard WBS. Second is the standard network. Third is a material. Material should be material master. Material master should be assembly. Okay, should be assembly applicable. Third thing is then you should have a link between material and standard network. Okay, so what you will do, like apart from the sales configuration, this is the thing which is should be no, completed in the PS. So you should have a standard WBS, you should have a standard network, you should have a material master that is simply applicable, and the last thing is there should be a link between your material and. So we already know how to create a standard, not standard WBS is like from the CJ91, standard network created through CN01, material master is MM01, and the link created through the CN08. Okay, so these are the transaction which comes through it. Then the process will remain same. We will create a sales order. So as soon as we will create a sales order, system will generate the project. So we have some ready-made data available. So I will show you that thing only. Okay, so what you can do, you can just explore it more into the system. So if we look at the CN08 transaction, okay, so here you can see we have the material number. So these all are the different material, and these material is linked to the standard network and network profile and the standard WBS. Okay, so it has a integration, you can say, between all these things. So we have one case here which I have identified, which is I think for material this S4001. Okay, so I'll show you like how it will work. We will create a, okay, so this object is activated for the quotation, yes. So what I will do, I will create a sales quotation. The sales quotation will be created from the VA21. Okay, so there is a configuration from the SD side, so where we can know configure this thing whether it is applicable for quotation, order, or the inquiry. Right now, if we whatever the example I'm taking, it is activated on the quotation. So there is a one quotation type ZECO. So I am taking this ZSDQ. So I'm taking this ZSDQ, which is a quotation type, and then press enter. And then sold to party and shipped to party. Select the sales organization. And in material, what I will do, I will select this material because this is the material which is applicable for assembly processing. And now you can see this material is linked to this standard network and also this standard WBS element. Okay, so now system will work in a reverse way. Okay, so what system will do, system will come this table. Okay, because system is checking, okay, this is for assembly processing, then system will come to this table and it will check the standard network and the standard WBS element. Okay, from there it will find the link and it will generate a project automatically. So I will just press the quantity and then press enter. So this material is enabled for the characteristic as well. So it will ask few of the information like what is the customer engagement type. So these all are the class and characteristic of the material or the under this sales order. So we are saying fixed fee, scoping planning, testing go live, and then press enter. One more thing like files. So these all are for the information purpose only. And then back. It's asking for the delivery date. That's fine. Now, as soon as I click on save button, okay, system will in background, actually it's everything is happening in the background, but the problem is now because there are some coding mask or other information has been changed. Okay, so system is giving me this pop-up, otherwise it will not give if there is no error messages. So it's saying that project number or WBS number may not be used because, so right now what is happening by default, whatever the sales order number system is generating a project definition also. Okay, so you can see this 200, no, not the sales order, sales object number. So sales document number here is 24 times 0 292, and with same number system is trying to generate a project definition. But because from our coding mask point of view, we have enabled, I think, that you can have the project only from the coding mask. Other than that, you cannot have the project number. So that's the issue. It's happening in the background. So system will give a pop-up. Okay, you can just you have to select the other project number. So what I will do, just let me disable that setting. I think OPSJ, not OPSJ, PSK. So this is the configuration. We will try it again. Okay, let's cancel this thing. Okay, so it is cancelled. 21 B21 again. ZSDQ, sold to party, ship to party, material quantity 1, and press enter. Select sales organization and provide all these values. Let's select it. XV pre-configured and DC. Okay, so this time it's just giving the information message, but it should system like is not restricted, and then save. Okay, so now you can see our quotation is generated. So if we look at the quotation and we will go into the change mode, and if I will click on the item and go to the account assignment, you can see our WBS element is already linked. I did not create any WBS element, system created automatically. If I will click on this WBS element, okay, we can go to the project definition. Let's open the project. So yeah, you can see this whole structure is created automatically based on the sales order. And now we can have our own detailed planning and the sales order processing like that. So you have to explore this process in detail, sales order process, assembly processing. Try to do that in system. There will be so many problems you will face regarding the configuration or other thing. Okay, if you need anything or if you wanted to discuss anything, that we can discuss again in detail. But the idea behind is like if you're talking about the integration point of view, we have these information like the standard, if you're talking about the SD, okay, so these are some of the no high level, or you can say key points. How revenue will be posted: direct using customer invoice or using sales integration. Sales integration, you can have again two options: either it can be manual or it can be automatic. If we talk about the revenue planning, we have two type of revenue planning: hierarchical and the cost element based. Hierarchical is like your same CJ40 we will do in the transaction CJ42 and the CJR2. Apart from that, we have some other thing is like milestone billing and the result analysis. Okay, milestone billing I will show you in some another session, like whenever I will have some time, not now. Result analysis we will not discuss. If you want, you can just take and read it from the SAP documentation, but it is something, it's very complex. You will not get it initially. Okay, it is purely your revenue based accounting, so which is generally known as revenue based accounting. So if you have a good knowledge about the accounting, then you can understand this result analysis, how it works. Milestone billing, we will surely will I will have some another session, a short session. I will tell you how to do that. Okay, and I think next session will be taken by the Rama. He will give you some another like information regarding the SAP methodologies and some interview, information on the interview or the other things. So this is it. Like, let me know if you wanted to have any specific topic or anything need to be discussed, so we can also have the session for that. Okay. And if you have any question, any clarification, ping me on the Telegram. So if I will have a time, like whenever we have time, we can discuss, or I will call you directly. So from this session, I know this session will be quite confusing because the customer SDPS integration is like that only. So you have to do some exercise and have an idea about how customer project will work. Then might be, you will have a better understanding. So any question, Anand, Mahesh, Abhishek?
Yeah, I think we need more some knowledge on SD, I guess. Then
Yeah, do it. Like whatever I just explained
yeah,
today, do it in the
yeah,
system.
that's a little bit confusing. I also getting to that.
Yeah, like SD integration is like that only. That's the reason actually. If you never work on this sales order scenario, it's very difficult to imagine.
Yeah,
Do with this, small pace, like with manual revenue posting, then do the sales order processing. The problem is like if you try it in this system, okay, if you have any friend in this SD, okay,
okay.
take help of him because it require a lot of configuration. Like there are a lot of missing configuration in this system. If you try it in this system from the SD point of view,
Okay.
if you are well enough to do the SD configuration, then it's good, because you need to fix a lot of things, not a single thing. Like it will ask you the order type configuration, it will ask you the item type configuration. Like there are so many combination with shipping point and sales organization related configuration. A lot of things is there. That's the problem actually. Sometimes whenever we even try to do something, it's very difficult to find a correct data to do that in test environment. But you can try. It's trying. Like if you're trying, you will face a new thing, you will face new challenges, and might be like if you will resolve that, it will be a better understanding for you. But the whole idea is like, if you will, as a layman, if I will tell you about the sales order processing, it's the same thing as your purchase order processing. The only difference is in reverse way. Okay.
Yes.
Sales order purchase order processing is something like you are purchasing something, and the sales order is like you are selling something. Okay. But the process is more
Yeah.
or less logically same. Okay. Also the step is also same. Like here we have the inquiry, quotation, and order. Okay. In PO we have the PR, RFQ, and order. Okay. PO also have the item tables. Under the item we have the conditions, tax, and all the other information, and the account assignment. Same thing we have in the purchase order. Oh, sorry, in the sales order. Okay. Sales order have some few more data elements like your shipping point and your sales organization, all this additional information. But you can try, take the same references, try with different data. If face any issues, let me know. We can check it together. Okay.
Okay.
I have one query like this PSSD integration.
Mm-hmm.
Means can you provide some examples like for Capex? I understand like for asset installation we are using this Capex process, and OPEX
Mm-hmm.
is usually for maintenance like shutdown maintenance, those kind of business process. So here for this PSSD integration, means one is your this manual where we are linking it manually sales order. So that means I can understand it could be for a real estate company like if they are constructing something, or then they can use that process. But this assembly processing usually what kind of like customer or clients this is getting used?
Okay, so if we talk about the example, okay, let's talk about the example. Customer project example.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very simple. Okay, so the thing is, whenever you are having a revenue, okay, so any work which is you are doing for other company, okay, to your customer, everything is considered as a customer project. Okay, where like all the project which is executed for the other customer, not for your own company, like for the other company. Okay, even if you have a group of companies, okay, if you have a group of companies where one company is doing for the other company work, that is also will consider as a customer project wherever we have the revenue.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes,
this I understand. Like,
yeah,
for example, like our L&T, they are building some bridge or something for some customer. They have got some project of
yes. Even
construction, metro
L&T,
or whatever.
even
Yeah.
L&T, you look at the example of L&T, okay, L&T also
Mm.
have a group of companies, okay. So if one L&T
Yes.
company
Yes.
is working for another L&T companies, that is also will consider as a customer project. That's the first thing. So look at the attributes. Okay, attribute here is the revenue. Main thing is revenue. Okay, if revenue is there, it is a customer project. Okay,
Okay.
forget about how we are processing. If we have the revenues, it is a customer project. Okay, now if we look at the other example, like what can be the scenarios? Scenario can be, okay, you are working in a company like it can be your consultancy project, it can be your construction project, you are working for a government. Okay, government customer.
Okay.
So how government customer will, like there are some companies which deals with the government sector only. Okay, for example, no, all these consulting companies, big four, they have this government base. Or there are some other specified, like specific consulting companies which provide consultancy in a specific domain. Okay, even though they have
Yeah.
a limited government, no, they have limited customer base, like say 40, 50, or 100, more than, not more than 100, like that. So you can say they have a government customer. They are also doing a project. Okay, it can be 1 crore, it can be 100 crore, but they are doing a customer project. They are providing a services to the government companies. Okay, so that project also will consider as a customer project. But in this case, whatever I have seen so far, mostly in government project, company does not have the SD module. Like if you are working in a company who's dealing in projects, but you are having a limited number of customer base, like you don't need to create a sales order daily basis, like you don't need to have a new customer daily, you are not dealing with so many customer, management. So in that company, what will happen, they don't implement the SD model in SAP system, and instead of that, they will taking care of everything, revenue, invoicing, everything from the FI directly. Okay, they have the project, they have the revenue, okay, and they have the customer as well, but they don't have the SD module. So there, all the revenues will be manual. Mostly I have seen for the government sector, like the companies which is dealing for the government client, because government client, they did not offerly, like they did not generally give the sales order and all this thing, because they have a other legal instrument between them. That
Okay.
is the first
Yeah.
thing. Okay, manual revenues. Now if we're talking about the other processing, like sales order with manual integration, it's not assembly processing. Okay,
Yeah.
it can be your anything. It can be your anything whichever you are selling. Okay, it can be your, if you are a real estate company, it can be a building project. Okay, also here, because you are selling a flat, so you can say you have a sales order. Okay, in sales order you are selling your flats. Flat will be your item. Like if you're 10,000 item, 10,000 flat, you can have a 10,000 sales order, 10,000 sales order item, sorry. So each item will represent your sales flat. That each item can be linked of their one WBS element. If you are posting a revenue to a particular, but means it depends like how you are treating the revenues for that particular project. Like also, if we are saying like if you are have a company where no which is like doing the make to order project. Make to order project means like you are constructing a turbine, or if you are constructing a boiler, like a specific boiler, because boiler is not something is not no readily available, because every
Yeah.
plant has their own configuration. Okay, they ask, okay, I need this much of length, this much of height, and this is the pressure availability, all those things based on that. And also like if you have seen the fabricated companies, okay, so which provide a fabricated structure, that is also a kind of make to order project. So where they will do, they will have a sales order. Under the sales order, they can have a one item, or they can have n number of items, and based on that they will create their project separately, and they will link with their items. Okay,
Yeah.
and if you talk about the assembly processing, okay, assembly processing is something which enables you to automate the process. It's not necessary that it should be no used, like it's not necessary it should be used by any specific industry. Okay. Generally the idea, if you look at the definition, the idea behind the assembly processing is that your project should be repetitive in nature. Okay, that is the definition based idea about this. Project should be repetitive in nature. Okay, so if you now you have to think about like what all other projects could be repetitive. For example, I will say what is the example can be. You are working in an IT company and you are doing an implementation project. Okay, for a project, for let's say for a SAP or any IT implementation project, what should be your project structure. You know that there are 5 phases in my SAP project implementation. Each phase have a 10 number of activities. Okay, and I need license, I need a system provisioning, I need a number of resources. So cost can be a factor, but I know all this structure will be remain same whether I will do one implementation or 100 implementation, right? So it means it is a
Right.
repetitive in nature. So you have two options, like all uh, at the time of every project you will create one project manually, and then will link with the sales order. That is a one way. The second way is like, because like there are few variable here, like the material and the other thing, but you are sure like the structure will remain same. Like the all the WBS structure, all the network and the activity will be remain same. The only thing is the cost part. Cost part can be up or more, up or less. Okay, that you can deal with it. So instead of doing that thing, you are saying, okay, we should go from the sales order way, because sales order way is like, no, it will give you a governance as well, because you are saying once the sales order will receive, once the order is confirmed, then only you are creating a project. Okay, also sometimes it will works in a reverse way. Reverse way means there is a cycle in assembly processing. Okay, the cycle is you have received a requirement as an inquiry, okay, as a customer company, which is generally happen in the IT company as well. Let's say you receive an inquiry, and on the basis of inquiry, now you have to give a detailed quotation. How you will going to do a detailed quotation? Okay, so what some companies will do, they will create a project in a draft mode using based on the sales inquiry. Okay, so whenever you have a sales inquiry, system will create a project and you will do the detailed cost planning on your project. and from that system will generate the quotation. Okay, so whatever the planning you will do in your project, let's say uh, you have no understood all the customer requirement, and based on that you did the estimation, and from the estimation let's say you have found that project cost will be 100,000, then you will generate the quotation. Okay, so then again in SD there is a I don't know that is very much detailed topic. So there in in SD we have something like no uh, what we can say, the sales pricing concept. Okay, so what in the sales pricing configuration will do, based on the cost planning whatever you did on your project, and it will put the margin. Okay, it will put the margin whatever the defined margin, let's say 15%, and then system will generate the quotation. So that quotation will then send to the party who is requesting for, and if it is finalized, then we can just generate the order from there. Also if it is there any revision, then we can again do the revision in using the sales pricing, like we can generate a multiple quotation, and then we will have the order. So there are so many ways. Okay, so you can say the sales order with manual integration and assembly processing, the only difference is like if you wanted to have a fluent if there is no defined example that it should be used with the manual integration or it should be used with the assembly processing, but the idea behind is if it is repetitive in nature, it should go with assembly processing. So I have seen like mostly like IT companies, and also I have seen in pharma companies as well. Pharma companies also use this assembly processing very in detail, or also in like like companies which generally have a same kind of nature. For example, your solar companies, solar power project companies, they use this kind of process. Also sometimes make to order company will also use, because what they will do no, like EPC companies, so irrespective of their work, so they will create one common material, like I have shown you in this example. So here we did not have any specific thing, we have only the material as a project. Okay, project is only material here. So based on that they can have a common no, material, and from there they will generate their project structure, and then they will do everything there, like all the detailed thing like that. So it's up to that, like how you wanted to utilize it. So but they again, if you are doing the assembly processing, there are some other no drawbacks of using assembly processing. For example, assembly processing is like you are having items, so each item will have a different project. Okay, so that is a drawback of assembly processing. So for example, if you have a single sales order, and that the single sales order you have a 10 items, okay, 10 materials, so it will create 10 different project, until or unless like in standard it is not possible to have a single project. Okay, but in manual processing you can accommodate those things. So that's the thing.
Okay, and this I was going through this PDFs what is provided. So there's a concept of this resource related billing. So that also comes into picture with this scenario, PS and SD integration, dip profile
Yes,
and all.
yes, dynamic item processor.
Okay, so that is applicable for both of these scenarios, like manual integration as well as assembly processing means wherever
Yes, both
we.
the scenarios. Yes. So DIP actually use only for there are two types of project. If you talk about a custom project, first is the time and base time and material based project, and one is fixed
Yeah.
price project. So if it's a time and base, then it will come into the picture. Generally, which is known as your professional services. Mostly, it is comes under the professional services.
Yeah.
But the problem is actually I have not seen, like there are a very less than, I think not even 2% customer who is using this functionality of PS, RRB and all this thing, because it is very lengthy and complicated thing. It's not a simple solution.
Yeah. But this certification means this SAP
Okay,
certification, they are
if we
having
talk,
questions related to them.
yeah, so if we talk about the certification, okay, I will tell you my experience. Don't go in the RRB and the other thing. It is a very complicated thing. Okay.
Okay.
So if you focus on the structure, okay, so SAP question is like the topic wise. Okay, so if you look at the
Yeah.
SAP certification curriculum, you will find all the topics. So I think from the revenue or this one, okay, so they will not have more than 20% questions. Okay, from the customer scenarios, they will not have more than 20% questions. So passing mark will be, I think, 55%. Okay.
Yeah.
And remember, if you got 55% or if you got 99%, it doesn't matter, because nowhere it will mention like how many percentile do you have. Okay,
Yeah.
that is the first thing. And focus on the topics which is easier to understand and percentage is more. For example, structuring. Okay, focus on the structure part, cost part, budget, actual cost, material. Okay, revenue planning also. Revenue planning is not a, like, also from the customer side, the easier topic. Okay, and dates, scheduling. From scheduling they will ask, from date they will there are at least 2 or 3 questions. And now because it is S for HANA, so something they will ask S for HANA surely, some app
Yeah.
or something, I'm not sure because I have did on for EHP4. So focus on majorly these topics like structure, cost, budget, actual cost, like this.
Yeah.
So what is the certification code? Okay, there are 2 certification. Okay, so you have to opt. So this one is like for the EHP and this one is for S for HANA. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
so if
412. Yeah. This is what I am.
this one is
I
for S
already.
for HANA, so in S for HANA they will have a, no, something, they will ask you some S for HANA related question as well. So if you are not working on S for HANA, so my take on this, like, take a S for HANA system. Like if you are not, if you don't have a S for HANA system, because in S for HANA they have a some small some new functionalities, also some theory application. And I think more or less they have the same topic. If you look at the project structure, 12%, material 12%, resource 12%. So resource combine your all these things. Okay, your machine, material, all these things, dates, cost and budget. Revenue and payment is only 12%. Okay, it will not have, you will not have more than 14% from the revenue and payments. So everything your resource related billing, DIP, assembly processing, everything comes under this 12%. Okay,
Yeah.
focus on the other areas like the reporting. Reporting is the easier part to consider. Project structure. Okay, look at the project structure in very detail. And remember, if you are going in a genuine way to, for this certification, they will have a very basic question but in very detail, until and unless you will observe each and everything on the screen. For example, if you are on a CJ20N, if you are not observing any every minor detail here, they can ask anything. Okay, they can ask, what is this mask ID? I think no one, if you I ever think about like why this mask ID is used. Okay, mask ID, what is this coding mask, why we use, and some they have a real, no, real time based example as well. They will give you a scenario, and out of the scenario they will ask, okay, so as a consultant what will you suggest, like that they will have that question as well.
Yeah.
So if you are preparing for the certification, better to read these books. As for 121, 122, two books only, I think. 123, 123, 3 books, and 124, 4 books. Or if you have the PLMs, these are the same books. The only difference is here, this S for 121 have the S for HANA layout and everything. Okay,
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
do we have any other thing here? So might be like next session or might be next 1 or 2 session will be taken by the Rama. Okay, and from this Saturday till 15th of November, I will not be available. So if you have anything to discuss, just ping me. We will connect later. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Ravi.
you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.